Hello everybody, thanks for tuning into Skern Station. This PvE RESTO DRUID Guide for patch 8.3 will go through the most important things you need to know for this specialization. In this video, we will go through the strengths and weaknesses, the recommended builds and talents, the top Azerite traits as well as the stat priority, the best essences that you should use, the best corruption effects, as well as the healing and combat rotation. Without further ado, let's start with the strengths and weaknesses. Resto Druids are one of the easiest healers to play for beginners due to their ability to heal decently while moving. They have great cooldowns and good survivability and excel at healing consistent damage. Their only weak spot at the moment is that they are weak at dealing with burst damage healing without cooldowns compared to other healers. Overall, they are currently in an excellent spot for Mythic Plus and raiding. Now let's continue with the talents. In the first row, it is recommended to pick Prosperity, especially for beginners. Among advanced players, Scenario Ward is a popular pick. In the second row, pick Wild Charge. If you want to have an instant self-heal for emergencies, pick Renewal instead. Feral Affinity is a recommended talent if you feel good enough to do cat damage in Mythic Plus. For raids, you could also pick Balance or Guardian Affinity instead, depending on your preference. In the fourth row, pick Typhoon. It is a great active ability that knocks back all the targets in front of you. It synergizes well with Ursul's Vortex. In the video description you will find a useful macro that you can use to cast in sequence the spells easily. In row 5, Cultivation is the best talent. It empowers your rejuvenation spell on targets below 60%. For raiding, you can take Tree of Life instead. In the 6th row, pick Spring Blossoms. It is by far the best out of the 3 talents and you should use it all the time. Last but not least, pick Photosynthesis. It is currently the best to increase your healing output. For raiding, consider picking Flourish instead. It is excellent to cast it after Tranquility. For further information and to make this guide more objective, I've analyzed the top 30 Resto Druids worldwide, according to Radar.io as of May 2020. Now you see how many of those 30 world-class players allocated their talents. I hope this additional information is useful for you. Feel free to add your opinion and suggestions in the comments. Let's continue with the Azerite armor traits for the first 2 outer rings, tier 4 and 3. The most recommendable Azerite traits for Resto Druids are first, Rampant Growth, which will cause your regrowth to heal more over its duration, and the healing over time will be applied on the target with Life Bloom. Groove Tending is stackable and it's also very good, and it will increase your heal over time of your Swiftmend. It's very good for Mythic Plus. High Noon is also worth mentioning here. Autumn Leaves is also among the most recommendable traits. Concerning the tier 2 ring, the recommendable traits are Overwhelming Power, Blood Siphon and Life Speed. Let's proceed with the secondary stat priority. To boost your overall healing output, it is important to keep this order in mind. Mastery equal to haste, versatility, and last, critical strike. Essences are also a key part that you'd require for healing effectively. For raiding, it is recommended to pick Memory of Lucid Dreams as your major essence. Concerning your raiding miners, it is recommended to pick Ever Rising Tide that will give you a decent mana gain. Conflict and Strife is a really good essence that you should pick if you have it. Unwavering Ward is a third alternative option. For Mythic Plus, pick the Formless Void as your major essence. If you have a decent item level, your healing output as a Resto Druid will be high enough and you can focus on supporting your group with DPS. Copy Focusing Iris primarily from DPS players if you can. The recommended Mythic Plus miners are Ever Rising Tide, Spirit of Preservation and Conflict and Strife. With patch 8.3, Blizzard introduced corruption effects. Some recommendable corruption effects for Resto Druids are Masterful and Expedient, which give you a good boost to your stats. Gushing Wound and Twilight Devastation are recommendable to boost your DPS. Since the end of May, you can buy from Mother corruption effects with your Echoes of Nyalotha. It is time to experiment. Manage your corruption and don't go too high. The corruption resistance is your limit. Now that we know all the important stuff concerning the Resto Druids, let's proceed with the healing and combat rotation. First, let's start with raid healing. Keep Efflorescence on the melee or ranged DPS player pack. Use Cenarion Ward on cooldowns if you talented it on the tanks. Use Life Bloom on the tank or on important healing targets. Use Wild Growth for AoE healing and cast your rejuvenations on up to 4 targets or more. Use your mana efficiently here. Try to cast it before the damage comes in. If necessary, use Regrowth additionally. Concerning your cooldowns, you should try to use them as much as possible, and don't stack them as you might overheal. The recommended cooldown sequence would be Tranquility, Flourish, and afterwards Tree of Life if you require it. Now let's look at the additional details for Mythic Plus healing. Maintain as many HOTS on your tank as possible. You can refresh them at around 30% of the respective duration. Because you use photosynthesis as a talent for Mythic Plus, you can use Life Bloom in 2 different ways. Either you apply Life Bloom on the tank and use all your healing over time spells on him to have a strong single target heal, or you apply Life Bloom on yourself and apply the healing over time spells on your group members. Your healing over time spells will tick faster, thus healing in a shorter time all your party members. Also in Mythic Plus, it is important to keep Efflorescence on the group. Use your Wild Growth for AoE heals. Apply rejuvenations to the whole group before the damage comes in. In some cases, you might need to spam Regrowth on the tank to keep him alive. If you feel comfortable enough in your healing gameplay, it is strongly recommended to do DPS with your cat form. This simplified DPS rotation will show you how. In some special occasions, you will be able to attack from stealth with your rake. This will do increased damage on the target. Overall, before you enter into the cat form, you should apply Moonfire and Sunfire on all the targets right away. Afterwards, you can enter into cat form and use Shred to build combo points. Apply Rake on some targets for additional bleed damage. You can use Swipe if the monsters are not gonna live long enough to do a decent multi-target damage. Concerning your finishers, you should apply Rip on monsters that will live more than 20 seconds. If your target is not gonna live long enough, use Ferocious Bite, but use it while you are above 50% energy to do extra damage. Only use your cat form to deal DPS when you have mastered your healing gameplay and want to further improve. As a beginner, it might be hard to use the cat form, but with time, you will know when it is appropriate to do cat damage. So people, I hope you enjoyed this video and it helps you in becoming a better healer. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. See you on a Twitch stream.